Hey, what's going on YouTube? Orstorm here with another episode of the Preparing For series where I talk about preparing for a certain deck. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about Graydles. Graydles are a new synchro archetype that are coming out in Dimension of Chaos. They are water type. They are water attribute aqua type monsters. Basically, a lot of people refer to this deck as Snatch Steal deck. Basically, whenever they all have different ways of destroying. Some activate when they're destroyed by spells, other by traps. And a lot of them activate by battle. Basically, they steal your monsters. So the way that works is they become equipped spells when they equip into your monsters. So today I'm going to talk a little bit how you can prepare and have your side deck accounted for the Graydle players that are likely going to pop up when the deck comes out. So the first thing you need to realize is that they function as equipped spells when they equip to your monster. Think Snatch Steal. Much like Snatch Steal, Graydles have to target and equip monsters with that. So naturally, if you're running a deck like Yang Zings, or a deck that can make a card that has targeting immunity, such as Yugioh, or even something like Ritual Beast, where like you can contact out and make them lose the target, you're going to be in a very good shape already because much like Snatch Steal, you can make Snatch Steal lose the target by changing the target that it was the monster it was targeting. So you're already in good shape if you are playing those decks already. The other card I think is really, should be, if it's not already in your extra deck already, that's really going to help you against Graydles is Abyss Dweller. Obviously, and especially with Norden coming out in the Megatins, which Megatins are less than a month away, that's going to mean we can have Dwellers at 2200, which is a pretty key number. And having that extra attack boost is nice. 1700 is not very big, but 2200 is a lot better. So that's definitely a card I like against them. Now, as far as side deck cards, there's about I think 3 I thought of outside of the obvious floodgates. One card I heard someone talking about, and I actually understand what they were thinking was this card called the Emperor's Holiday. This is like kind of obscure card that the floodgate that hurts them pretty hard. What Emperor's Holiday does is basically negates the effect of all equipped cards. Now this card has never been relevant, but because, well, Noble Knights never really ever took off. So this card basically it prevents Graydles from stealing your monsters because they can't equip themselves. So it really hurts them that they can't get that big, they can't steal your monsters. So you're shutting down one of the basic mechanics of the deck. Obviously, it's not the most optimal card, because it only really applies to this matchup, but nevertheless, it's definitely there. Obviously, the other 2 side deck cards that come to mind for me that are kind of like not the obvious floodgates is Anti-Spell Fragrance is very, very good against, much like how it's good against Magispect, it's also good against Graydles because you cannot set equip spells. So it's pretty key because it will keep them from stealing your monsters. And that's obviously, a theme here. You want to keep them from stealing your monsters. That Anti-Spell Fragrance is a very, very good card against Graydles. The other card that comes to mind for me is Debunk. Debunk is a kind of old card. I believe it came out in Extreme Victory, and it was recently reprinted in the Legendary Collection 5Ds. It's a counter trap that basically, when a card effect activates in the hand or in the graveyard, you can chain it. It's a counter trap, and it negates and banishes the card. It's pretty nice. It was pretty popular during Mermail Fire Fist format. It was also a popular side deck card during Hat because it banished off hands. I believe it topped out at $20 at one point before the reprint. And it's kind of fallen out of favor because in lieu of the floodgates I'm going to mention later. But nevertheless, it is still a pretty dang good card. If you chain it you can chain it during the damage step because it's a counter trap, which means you can banish off Dante and negate the effect. You can banish off Constructs. So it's definitely applicable to multiple matchups. So it's much like Anti-Spell Fragrance. It's pretty dang good in this situation. Now, as far as the floodgates, they should be obvious, but these are the last couple cards I cover. Soul Drain, Macrocosmos, Dimensional Fissure. Obvious choices. Soul Drain is probably the one that a lot of people can fit into their decks that others can't. It's the one that people tend to forget about because D-Fissure and Macro exist. Nevertheless, it's one of the better choices. Macro and D-Fissure, like I said about Ritual Beast, if you're playing Ritual Beast, you already have a pretty decent, you're probably already main decking Macrocosmos and D-Fissure already. So much like with the being able to contact out, if you're still playing Ritual Beast, you're in pretty good shape. You're going to be in pretty good shape when Graydles come out. So that's one thing I really like about Ritual Beast in the Graydle matchup is going forward, they're going to have a very good matchup against Graydles. Can they keep up with Magispectors? It's debatable, but nevertheless, I really like Virtual Beasts going forward. So anyway, guys, I'd like to thank you for watching this video today. I really appreciate it when people watch my videos. Tune in on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays for more Yu-Gi-Oh content. And if you like what you saw from this video, please subscribe. It's Warstorm, signing out.